WordPress has started as a blogging software, which will actually enable your sites to be interactive. So what that actually means is that your users, your visitors can actually go and leave comments and actually post some new articles and posts. Okay, so as such software, it will have some settings, and in this video tutorial we'll actually go and look at those settings. Okay, I've logged back into my website and I'm at the back end, and on the main menu I'll actually find settings, under which I'll find general, writing, reading, discussion, media and permalinks. If I was to click on settings, this will actually open a general settings page, and here we actually have some of the information we have seen before. So this is the actual title of the web page. So it's web, for my case it's just WordPress tutorials, and there is a tagline. So here I can just write WordPress tutorials, actually put WordPress for tutorials online. Okay, so there is the WordPress URL, there's the site URL and email, which we have seen before. The membership, anyone can register, true. Membership, new user database role, we'll put this as, well, it depends, you can put as a contributor, author, editor or administrator. There's the time zone, you can select your time zone, the default date format, time format, and the day on which week starts, which in this case is set to Monday by default, and I'll leave it as it is. The last option here is site language, and this is something that's new to WordPress 4. By actually coming into these settings, you can actually set the language for your particular site depending on which language you have actually installed. At the moment, in my case, I only have English United States, and I will leave it as English United States. When you actually download different themes with different languages, you can actually change those languages here as well. Okay, going to writing. In the writing settings, you'll find a lot of options when it comes to formatting and how you actually post different comments and articles and whatnot. The very first option here will actually convert those three characters, smiley faces, into the graphical images, and I will leave this as enabled. The second option here is to do with the nested XHTML, and I will leave it as unchecked at the moment. Then we will actually come to the default post category, and as you remember in the last tutorial, we have created those subcategories and a category. So by default I want all of my articles to go into this category computers. Otherwise, you can actually, if you remember, select which category you would like your content to go under. Also, as we have seen before, there is a post format, and by default it's set to standard, but you can actually go and create a chat looking online site, which will of course be created by actually choosing chat as post format, gallery link, images, quotes, status, and a few others, video and actually audio. Okay, the next section here is to do with press this button, and you can find some information while reading this couple of sentences here. And the last option within the writing section is post via email. So basically what this does is, you can set an account and enter all the information here, and you can post to WordPress by actually just signing into that email and just typing in your stuff in there and sending it. Okay, so be very careful with this, because if you receive some sort of a junk email, it will actually be posted as a new post on your web page. The last option here is to do with the update services, and at the moment, because of my visibility settings, I'm not receiving any update services. Okay, once you have checked and edited all this, make sure you click on save changes. Okay, going down the list, on the settings tab we'll find reading. If we were to click on reading, we'll find that it will actually open a reading settings page. The very first option here at the top is to do with the front page displayed. So what this basically means, if I was to go onto my front end, as you can see at the moment I have the latest post that's actually been posted, and this is to do with this particular setting here. So you can actually choose this one, the first option, which is set by a default, or you can actually click on a static page and then choose the front page. I'll leave it as sample page, and for the post page I'll actually leave it as the default. So if I was to actually hit on save changes and I go to the front end and I actually refresh my page, instead of this articles, the posts, I will actually get this simple page, which you can of course change later and adjust it to your needs. Also, when you actually go into creating pages and you create more pages, when you come here, this drop down menu will actually have all of the pages that you currently have. Alright, then it comes to the blog pages that we can have. So we can have at most 10. You can change that to 11, 12 or any number, but I think 10 is by the default. It's usually the best number, and then you will count to how many times the syndication feeds is to show on the most recent. Okay, the next option down will actually show and edit how we actually display our feeds. So what that actually means, if I was to go back and if I had this actually set to my latest post, let's save that and let's refresh the page. Okay, so that last bit, so I'm talking about this bit here, is to do with how this is being displayed. Now, because I have a very small paragraph here, I only have 2 sentences, we can actually show everything, or we can actually go and full text. This was actually show everything, so in my case I only have 2 sentences, but if this text was a lot larger, which would cover a big area, what I can do is I can set it to summary, and in that case, instead of a full page being displayed of text, it will just have some summary. So it will maybe have a couple of the first sentences, and then it will have some sort of a read more button, and when that button is pressed, it will actually go and open that particular article. Okay, the last option here is to do with the search engine visibility, and let's say that we're happy with this, and I'll hit on save changes. Moving down the list, we'll come to the discussion options. And there's a lot of options here that are pretty much self-explanatory. There's a couple of options to do with the default article settings, other comment settings, email settings, and what happens when a comment is posted and whatnot. So let's start at the beginning. Default article settings, attempt to notify any blogs linked to from the articles. I will leave this as unchecked. Basically, you can go through all of these settings and actually see which settings you think would be the best for your site. Now, coming to the other comment settings, the first option here is actually saying that the author must fill out their username and email. I think this is unnecessary because we have this option here, and by the default actually this will come as checked, and the second option will come as unchecked. I would much rather have the users, you know, log in, first of all register and then log in order to post comments, then actually have them just type in their username and email. Okay, then we have the options to automatically close the comments after so many days. Once again, depends on how busy your site is. You can enable or disable this. As for the second and as for the next option here, which is actually to do with comments, at the moment it's actually at 8. So basically what this says, you will have the first comment, and after that you can have another 7 comments which are nested, and this is good because people can leave comments on other people's comments. So if this is something that you would like, you can choose think up to 10, and you have 10 different levels. This option here is, I think, pretty self-explanatory, and what I like to do is I always like to put my new comments right at the top. Okay, so those comments will be displayed at the top, and down the bottom the older comments will be displayed. Okay, so the next option here is to do with emails. So basically what it says, email me whenever anyone posts a comment is held for moderation. Now, if there is a comment that needs to be moderated, which actually has to do with the next option here, before a comment appears, comment must be manually approved, and comment author must have previously approved comments. I will not use this, so I will not enable it. I'll actually keep this as disabled, and I will like all the comments to be manually approved. And then I come back to this one, which is actually saying when somebody actually posts a comment and it's actually awaiting manual approve, I would like to get an email, which actually makes sense. When a comment is held for the moderation, it actually goes into something that's called a moderation queue. Now, the WordPress can actually automatically recognize some of those comments, and it can actually put it into this queue as well. So if I was to actually disable this one, I can actually come to this bit here, comment moderation, and actually enter some information here. The first information that I'll need to enter is how many links can a comment contain. Now if there's a lot of hyperlinks, it means usually that this is a spam comment and I will not like it to appear on my page, and it will actually go into that moderation queue and it will actually wait for the moderator to approve it. Alright, then you can actually come to this box here and you can actually enter some words that can contain some, you know, names or URLs, emails, or even IP addresses that you would like to actually go. If a comment has those words, you will actually like to have that actually checked before it actually appears as a comment. Okay, so you can enter all of that information here. Then we'll come to the comment blacklist. This is the words that are not to be used in comments. You can enter all of these words and actually it will be marked as spam and not published. Then we come to the avatar. So basically this is the graphical representation of each user. Now you can show or not show avatars. Choose show, and then you can actually set the maximum ratings. You can set G, GPR, or X. Alright, so the last option here would actually have to do with the default avatar, and you can choose, you know, Mr. Mayor blank, or actually you can enable the grabber option here and a few others. And of course you would have to have an account set up with grabber.com in this case, or any of the other services. Okay, once all that is done, hitting on save changes would save the changes. Going to media. In the media settings, we'll find, as the name suggests, all the information and settings about the media. We'll find the thumbnail sizes, which we can change, the width and the height. We can actually choose the medium size, the large size, and the last option here is to do with uploading the files and how they're actually organized. As the option here, it's actually saying organize my uploads into month and yearly basis folder. I think this is a good idea and I think you should leave it as enabled. Coming to the last option here, permalinks. We'll find information about permalinks, and basically here you would have how those are displayed. So common settings, whether you want it by default, which is just as it is. It doesn't give any information, as you can see, question mark p equals 123, or you can actually have some more meaningful names such as date and name, month and name, numeric, post name, and actually you can go and customize your own structure. Alright, and down the bottom you'll actually come to the category base and tag base. Once you have actually filled in all the information and chosen the actual permalink that you would like, how you would like to appear, you can actually hit on save changes and that will actually save all of the changes. So basically we have gone through very basic settings and how to go about setting those settings, from general to writing, reading, discussion, media, and permalinks. Before you actually start building your web page, I think it's a good idea to actually go ahead and actually set up all of these settings as we have done in this video tutorial.